yourself, who you are. We want to know a bit of background, and then we'll take it from there, if that's okay.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so thank you, Masa. I really, really love listening to Shifting the Mindset. I think I'm like one of your regulars, if you didn't know. I
Thank
absolutely love the show. You're doing amazing work. So thank you so much for this platform
you.
and getting me to come on the show and just, share a little bit about myself and what I do. So my name is Anya, and my 9 to 5 is a lawyer. And I know a lot of people think, oh, law is a boring job, blah, 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 blah. And that is true. It is a boring job unless you have a passion for it. So I am a lawyer and an entrepreneur. I like to motivate people to start their own businesses, to be their own boss, to run their life, especially their finances, the way they like to. So I'm also a business consultant and a business coach for small businesses, especially, although I don't really discriminate. I like to work with small businesses mainly because that's where you see a lot of potential and you see a lot of growth. I'm
Right.
also a motivational speaker. I like to empower and motivate people, in all areas of their lives. And under this, I have a thing or what do they call it? A brand called I Am Anya, where I do motivational speaking. And also under the same brand, I'm a life coach, so I do help people with all their life skills, counseling, trying to get them to be better versions of themselves. So I also do have a degree in counseling as well, and I do use it as a life coach. I'm an etiquette coach as well, especially for those young girls in the UK and in Africa, just to help young girls from as young as 7 to embrace their feminism, to embrace who they are as females, and to portray this in the best way that they should in society and in the community as well. So I do etiquette coaching mainly for young girls. And I'm a philanthropist, which means that I just like to help, especially in the areas of paying school fees for people that cannot afford it. Currently, I have 20 children that I'm paying school fees for that live in the rural areas of Zimbabwe. I
Wow.
also help children that have mental health illnesses in Africa, because this is something that is stigmatized. Mental health has really progressed in Europe and Africa and America, but not really in Africa and Asia. So we are trying to bring that awareness and especially that help within families where children and teenagers are suffering from mental health issues such as depression, schizophrenia, and things like that. I also help widows that are definitely widowed and they have children with learning disabilities and physical disabilities. So that's what I do under my philanthropy banner. And also, not to miss this out, I'm a mom of 2 beautiful, gorgeous girls. One is actually 18 in a few months, and the other one is 7.
Wow. Amazing. Amazing. Oh, it absolutely resonates, and that's one of the reasons why, being aligned, because I can definitely resonate to a lot of the things that you're saying today.
Mhm.
But because it's you've summed it up very well, but I'm going to break it down. I'm going to break all those things down, and then we'll move on to talk about some of the challenges, how you made it to be able to wear so many hats, being a mom and everything else, and being black, being successful. What are the challenges you faced and all of that? So I'll dig down into it. So first of all, where were you born?
So I was born in Zimbabwe, in the capital, in Harare. My birth was nothing special in terms of, like, private hospitals and things like that. I was born in a government hospital to parents that just earned a basic wage. My mom is a teacher, a very beautiful and wonderful teacher, and my dad is in the army. So I was born to social and people that were just normal, general social service type of people in Harare, Zimbabwe.
Right. Okay. And so I think part of your journey, there's a lot of aspect, because I know you've talked about all the good side of of where you are now, but I think
Mm-hmm.
I always say, in order for us to know where we're going, we need to understand where we're coming from. So obviously you were born in Zimbabwe, and then I take it you traveled to the UK.
Yeah, there were definitely challenges there. And it's something we need to educate our especially African parents and Asian parents that sent their kids abroad, to say, listen, you are doing a very good thing by that, because you want to give them a better future, something that you never experienced. They're going to be better individuals in terms of, especially financially. They will gain a good education, but there are a lot of challenges that they're going to be faced with. Not only are they in a completely different environment, but they are in this environment often alone. They
Right.
don't really have that support network. Friends, family, usually they will be doing their own thing. That's if they're actually in the country. And thrown in the mix, if that person then happens to be Black and they happen to be female, the challenge is kind of just double by the virtue of your gender and your race.
Wow. Wow, amazing, amazing. And so basically, you are saying the fact that you've traveled here to the UK, you faced quite a lot of challenges,
Definitely.
being Black female.
Mm-hmm.
What sort of challenges have you faced in your journey, so that we can be able to inspire? Because I think people underestimate the aspect of traveling,
Yeah.
coming to diaspora, and then
Yeah, thank you for that question. I love that question, because not only am I talking about myself and my experiences, but I think there would be parents out there that are thinking of sending their kids to the diaspora to work or to school, uni, and things like that. And these are the things they need to actually know and be able to support their children or relatives even from a distance. So when I came to the UK, the first thing I realized that, oh my gosh, I have an accent, which I still have, years down the line, because it was so obvious that my accent was different. But not only that, there was a time where it was constantly being highlighted and put to the forefront. Oh my gosh, where are you from? You have an accent. What do you sound like? Before anyone can actually get to understand what I'm trying to say, which, yes, there's an accent, but you can hear me very well. It was like that was the first thing somebody is more interested in, rather than the content of the accent. So it took away from what should be the main things that either we have to be discussing, or the main things that I should be letting you know about, or letting the person know about, to actually, oh, you have an accent, oh, you're Black, oh, and that is something that I am really, not proud to say, but it still carries on up to today. So it was a bit challenging being put in a separate environment from your family. You're on your own. You're making new friends. You're getting acclimatized to this society, to the weather, to the people. But not only that, there is that constant reminder that, look, you are Black and you are a female. And these are things that really should not be things that should be put on the forefront. I think it's mainly about the content of the person rather than their appearance.
Definitely. And I think the accent is a very, 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 it's the little things, but subconsciously, I think people underestimate how sometimes, sometimes because I want to say something that's really, really sensitive but crucial, and very, it's very evident. Sometimes I believe because of our accent, considering that you're from Zimbabwe, the way we talk in our accent it's got passion to it. And being a woman, I think a Black woman, I think there's often a perception that is, say that, an angry Black woman, when you're trying to, when there's always that angry Black woman syndrome, when you're trying to express yourself, when you're trying to articulate what you feel and what you think, and there's that angry Black woman. I want to ask you a question. How have you ever come across being told, obviously because of your accent, because of how you talk, that you sound like an angry Black woman?
Oh, Motsa, it's not even once, but quite a few times, because everything I do it from a point of passion, starting from my 9 to 5. So even when I'm working and sometimes you go into court, you're trying to put your point across so that, because remember, you're fighting for somebody's maybe immigration status, for example. You know that whatever decision the judge is going to make is going to make or break this person. So you are trying to put your point across. But the misconception is, just because you're trying to put your point across and you have an accent, they already sometimes associate that with anger. And you are like, no, this is just passion. It's not anger, but I'm trying to do the best I can for my client. And generally, as I have been getting, into contact with different people of different levels and stature, people that have money, people that don't have money, and people that are actually well respected in the community, I have actually realized that there is still that angry Black woman stigma that is attached to us as Black women. I'm not sure where it comes from, and I have been trying to research on it, but you feel like you have to say stuff a bit more for people to get it, and if you try to mellow yourself down, sometimes you're actually not heard, because of obviously the fact that sometimes you're just Black and there's a time where you're being overshadowed. So the balance is very difficult, but we need to have these conversations so that people that are in a position of privilege, as in people that are Caucasian and men, get to understand that this is exactly what we are going through. I'm going to
say that you mentioned that you're an immigration lawyer, right? And being a lawyer, I mean, obviously, we went to law school together. We're both in the same field, but I want to hear your perception of how is it being like, to that young girl or that young man that wants to be a lawyer, and they're from the BAME ethnicity. How is that journey been for yourself, becoming a lawyer, an immigration lawyer, to make matters worse?
For me, it has not been easy, because one of the main things that I was aware of after working in another immigration law firm, which was run by a man, and he was also Black, but had different people in his organization. It opened my eyes to the fact that sometimes even your surname can raise eyebrows. You will be sending representations on behalf of a person, but because your surname just sounds exotic, there can be this whole thing of people trying to scrutinize you more, trying to scrutinize the content of your representations more. So what I would say to Black and ethnic minority people that want to go into law is you have to do your best. You always have to be on the ball, because unfortunately there might not be a time initially where you will get a second chance. By virtue of being ethnic minority, sometimes you only have one chance. So you just have to be on the ball until you're comfortable, you have experience under your belt, or you've opened your own firm, then you can start to relax a little bit more. Unfortunately, it's kind of the way of the world at the moment, and I wouldn't say it's right, but if somebody really wants to get to that stage where they are really recognized and their content is taken seriously, you just have to work a little bit more than an average, maybe white Caucasian person in the same field as yourself.
Absolutely, absolutely, and that is the one of the social challenges that I feel like, I want to try and get out of you today. The social challenges of, do you find that you have to work extra hard as a female, and as a black female, as a black foreign female? Do you find that you have to work twice as much to climb up the ladder?
Yes, especially initially. Psychologists say that people form a certain type of understanding of a person in the first few seconds. I think it's under a minute. So initially, the way you're going to present yourself, the way you are going to come across is very important, because there are certain places where in that very first minute, they have already made up their mind. It will take someone who's very open-minded for them to then actually come back from whatever they would have formed in their mind, and actually listen to you and think, okay, maybe this person really has content. This person really knows what they're talking about. It takes just a few seconds. So initially, or rather at the first stage, it's more about pushing a bit more for you to get to where you want to be, and then you start to relax. Of course, it is also about talking about it. When you're doing that, you are not being silent or being quiet, because it is not good. We should all be on the same playing field. But where you see that you have to push a bit more to get to where you want to be, I don't think there's anything wrong with that, as long as you actually then have these discussions, you talk about it, you bring it to the surface, you make people aware that this is what is going on, because conversations are the ones that will lead to change.
Wow. I absolutely believe that. And I feel like, so I want to ask another question. Do you feel that as black people, not even as just black female, in a foreign land, do you feel like you are able to speak up from your journey? Have you, because obviously you have gone from one of the most challenging careers, being a lawyer, and then now having your own business, now being in charity, coaching and all these things. Do you feel like you are comfortable in sharing how you feel without feeling a certain type of way, or without feeling like scared or intimidated to say how you feel? Do you feel like you can absolutely say 100%, I can say how I feel?
Yeah, for me, I think I can definitely say 100%. I will say exactly how I feel. Of course, we have to be mindful of how we say it and where we say it, and in what environment, for it to actually be for it to actually hold water. There is no point in saying something that makes sense, but at the wrong time or in the wrong environment, because it's not going to go anywhere. So it's a combination of the environment, how you say it, because we are looking to initiate change. We are looking to change the narrative of especially Black feminism from that victim mentality where we feel like this is what's been happening to us, this is what's been happening to us, to actually rise above that and actually say, you know what, Black feminism is about asserting myself as a Black person, as a Black woman. This is who I am. This is what I do. It's about my abilities, my capabilities, my accolades. It's not about my sexual orientation. It's not about my race. It's not about my gender. So if you come across as a victim too much in such matters, you lose the argument and you lose the narrative, and you are treated as a victim like, oh, sorry, and it ends there. So we actually have to push our feminism, especially as Black women, from that mentality of being victims to actually rising and saying, no, we have to assert ourselves. We have to say, this is who we are, whether it's going to be comfortable for people or not, but this is who we are and this is how we say it. I feel comfortable saying it, and I like to actually empower people to say, you have to say it, but say it with wisdom, where we talk about the right place, the right space, the right environment, the right way, so that it actually brings change.
Wow, that is so powerful. But then for me, if I am again going to ask you the question, is there ever a right place or a right time? What do you see? How do you class to say, right, this is my opportunity to really say how I feel, bearing in mind, we have different systems, people work in different environments. And I know, there's quite a lot of things happening, especially to the Black females. So I've got this question, and I have a very, very important question, because you mentioned Black feminism. How can you discern? How do you have the wisdom to be able to say to yourself, this is the right place and the right time?
Okay, so we are talking about change here. Now that we're talking about Black feminism and things like that, we are not talking about you just as an individual. So, for example, we're not just talking about Anya. She's gone somewhere and she feels discriminated because she's Black and she's a female. And I need to put in a complaint. I need to see the manager. I need to do this. Yes, it's good to do that. But what we're saying now is, at that level, you're still thinking very low. You're still thinking like a victim. Oh, this has happened to me. I need to complain. Because your complaint is going to be met with a sorry. We're going to do better next time. Whether it's done better next time is yet to be seen, because you might not even go back to that place anyway for you to even see whether it's been done again. We are now talking about asserting ourselves, where we have to knock in certain doors, where we have to go higher. If it's the MP, if it's, local councillors, if it's the managers of the establishments, where we are not at that level of just making a complaint. And it's good to complain, but we now have to look at it from a proper social, political, economical type of thing, where it's not just about you as an individual. It's about the whole Blackness. It's about the whole feminism. And put that together, it's about every Black woman. So when these situations arise, something happens, you have to take a step back. I always say in some of my motivational speaking, sometimes it is not about reaction, it's about responding. So you have to take a step back and say to yourself, I don't want to react, because if I react, it's going to be between me and this person only. I want to take this narrative further. I want to push this, because it's not just about me. It's about my girl children. It's about my girl sisters. It's about my girl aunts, my mom, all the females. It's about them. And then you take a step back and then you respond. It could be something simple, let's say in a shop.
But that something simple can turn out to become something that can revolutionize or change the whole entire chain of shops. Right. But if you react and you just go to a certain shop, let's say Anya's shop, for example, and she has a chain of, or she has 50 shops in the UK, something's happened and you are quick to react. You see the supervisor could probably be 2020, a Caucasian lady or man. They don't really get it. So they'll say, okay, we'll give you a voucher of £20. That is victim mentality. It doesn't go anywhere. Fine, they've sorted your issue, but nothing has really been done in the grand scheme of things. But what we are saying now is you have to push the narrative further, where now you're saying it is not just about this shop in Nottingham. It is about all the shops in the country. Are they doing the same thing? What is going on? So you have to rise above that and actually own your feminism and your race, your blackness, and assert yourself with it. So I hope that answers your question.
Definitely. And one of the big questions for me is, you keep talking about black feminism, and I think there's a different perception. You know, when we talk about, the moment we mention feminism, I think there's an element where some people may perceive it as, you know, we're being sexist, we're being we're putting things under the gender umbrella. And I just wanted to, what are your thoughts on, because where I'm sitting, when we talk about black feminism, we're talking about also the fact that we're trying to uphold our black men as well. What are your thoughts with regards to just defining black feminism? Is it something that's specifically focused on black women? Because we also have our black men that are also facing these social challenges, you know, that are also going through a whole lot of racism to climb up the hierarchy in a white privileged world, or in a white privileged scenario. What can you say about black feminism, the definition of it?
You know, because we put the word feminism in it, and people then start to think, okay, feminism, feminine, it's all about women. And yes, it is about women. It's a difficult subject, Musa. It's very touchy, because we're talking about the two touchy things in the world that people don't like to discuss because it makes them feel uncomfortable, and that is race and gender. So it's one of those things that it's very, very touchy. And when people are really accustomed to their own ways and to their own privilege, when we then talk about black feminism, which is equality, it will start to look like, you know, we are being angry. It will start to look like, you know, we are infringing on their rights. It will start to look like some sort of oppression, or we are trying to do something against them and things like that. But it's not that at all. It's about equality in the society. It's about, you know, when you are female and you have a male child in the house, and after a long day at school, and you see the mom subconsciously will say to the female, can you go and start cooking? And the male child is sitting in there. This is how the whole narrative starts from. Just the social aspects of life. I was talking to somebody, and the guy said to me, oh, you know, Anya, it's very nice to have boy children. It's very nice to have boys as kids. And I said, well, what about girls? And then he said, and girls too. I was like, already there's no equality there. You should have just said it's nice to have children, full stop, and not really genderize them and things like that. So we are talking about the social dimensions of black feminism, of black equality, especially when it comes to the ladies, when it comes to women, you know. And we're also talking about the political aspects and the economic aspects. And of course, our men are still suffering from this. Our men still have issues when it comes to when it comes to them being discriminated by virtue of being black, we know that going up the ladder, there's a certain glass ceiling sometimes when it comes to black people. You can be the best candidate for a certain job, but there's still certain places where you can only go so high, and then after that they want to see a white person occupy that job, even if that person is not the right person. So these are conversations that we should be having, and we wouldn't be taking our men out. But black feminism generally talks mainly about women, because it's the women that seem to be lagging behind. Even when we look at our black men and the black women, there's still a bit more discrimination when it comes to the women, even within our own society as black people.
Yeah, definitely, and I don't know if, because my perception, and I don't know if this is how you think. I feel like black feminism is not us leaving our men behind. It's us, being able to be in a position to speak up. And when we speak up, like how we're speaking now, we'll also speak on behalf of the men.
Yes.
We're trying to get to a place where when we fight, because as women we're nurturers, when we talk about all these things, and we're leaving, the reality is we're living in a society where black females are probably, the data shows black females are like at the bottom of the ladder. And we're saying, we want to be at that place, not because we feel like we're inferior to the other party. So I'm glad that you really clarify that aspect, and how some of the things that you've mentioned. Again, I am going to talk about the elephant in the room. I will ask you this question. The way you were describing some of the things of, how in jobs, you go for interviews and they say, oh, it's equal opportunities to everybody, but at the back end the job is actually like for a white person, and maybe sometimes in the workplace you're not treated fairly, and it seemed like it's a normal thing, and you don't understand, or you can't really pinpoint it. Microaggressive racism. What are your thoughts on that?
Where people are different, there's always that curiosity, and we embrace curiosity, and we embrace dialogue. We should be in a society where we embrace each other. But where it then goes to some people just getting jobs just because of the color of their skin, certain privileges are given to certain people, then there is definitely an issue there. And things like that should be addressed. And I always say to people when I'm speaking to them about this, that we are having these discussions because of statistics. We're not having this discussion because we just woke up and we said, black people are not being given equal opportunities, because we are all intelligent people having intelligent conversations. But when we look at statistics, certain jobs, ethnic minorities struggle to get to those types of jobs. I will draw your attention to maybe judges.
Yeah.
On average, if you're going to court, or if you're either as a witness, either as an accused, either as anything, if you're just going to court, even just to observe court, you have no business directly linked to you. In your mind already, you will have a perception of a white male judge, because usually those are the ones that are there.
Yes.
And you see the jobs being advertised day in, day out. They're looking for judges. But how many times have you ever gone into court and you've seen a black female judge or a black man judge? It's not because there are no people that are capable, but then it means that something is wrong somewhere. And if we look at certain jobs, CEO type of jobs, if we look at certain regional director type of jobs, they are always occupied by white male. And this also brings in something that is important, which is white females. They are also, they wouldn't call it black feminism, obviously, but there is also some feminine aspects to it, also even for white people, for white ladies, because it looks like a lot of privilege has been given to the black white person when it comes to certain jobs. And it's rather unfortunate because I hear sometimes my black sisters and brothers will say, I wouldn't even dare apply for that job because I know I won't get it. Because they already know that this job, where we are going now, this height, as much as I'm qualified and I'm capable, I will never get the job. And one thing I don't like is that type of picture, like as in like a proper photograph, where you go into a workplace and you see the workplace is full of Caucasian people and there's only one black person there. And you're like, really? This does not really look, this doesn't look practical. It's more like, okay, we're going to get that one person or that one black person, that one Asian person, just to make it look like we're inclusive when it comes to equality and diversity. So these conversations, we really need to have them because they definitely, I think, are certain jobs that have not been occupied by black people, especially black women. But it doesn't mean that there are no black women that are capable. If we look at exam results, for example, A-level results, we have noticed that it has changed and it's now women and especially ethnic minority girls that are actually passing these exams, that are doing very well. And we go to universities, it's the same. It's actually ethnic minorities that will be on top. So what is going on when it now comes to getting the jobs? That is a question we need to ask ourselves.
but I think for me the other thing that I want to be able to explain is, or maybe you might be able to share some light. You know, when we raise because it's systematic, you know, it's at a point where when you raise the fact that you're not being treated clearly, it's very, very difficult to articulate this microaggression, right? It's very, very hard to explain that you're not treating me right. It's very, very hard to explain that, you know, this is unfair. How do we conquer that barrier then? Because we are a lot of foreigners. It's not just Zimbabweans, a lot of African foreigners in the diaspora at this point in time that are losing opportunities because they're black, you know, that are losing opportunities or that are being mistreated because of their color or because we're black. And then when we try and complain, it's like, you know, what are you talking about? This is not what you think. You know, you're patronized. How do you get to a point where you can articulate yourself to say you're not treating me right? And you're not deemed as incompetent, or you're not victimized, or you're not deemed as an angry black woman. How do you do it?
Okay, so it's a combination of just a few things that I think and that has helped me in my journey. The first thing is you just have to assert yourself. You assert yourself unapologetically, but we are talking about saying the facts of exactly what is going on without sugarcoating them or without being apologetic or trying to mask it or say it any other way, because you never know that whatever you're saying might actually be something that can change a whole system, especially in the workplace, because maybe nobody else has ever said it that way. So you have to be assertive and you have to know your facts. So when these things are happening, you know that, okay, this is happening because of the color of my skin. So you keep your facts, you know. If it helps, you write down stuff, what has been happening, the similarities that you see or you don't see, like, you know, how somebody else is being treated and how you're being treated and what happened on this day that is different from what happened on that day, those things. So facts, you have to, and you say out your facts in with assertion. You don't have to apologize. The second thing is numbers. You have to do a little bit of research, unfortunately, because this is a touchy subject, and it's a subject that sometimes you can just be fobbed off like, oh, we don't know what you're talking about. It's just you, maybe you're just feeling like it, but it's not really like that. So you're going to have to try and do a little bit of research. Look at numbers in context with what you are experiencing or what you're feeling. Has there anybody else that has ever occupied that position, a person of color? If not, why has it taken this time? Okay, if there is and they left, why did they leave? You start to do a little bit of research, dig a little bit to make sure that when you bring out your case, it holds value. Because when we're talking about things like racism, sexism, and these are the aspects of Black feminism, you don't just do it for yourself, you also do it for others that are going to come after you. So you look at facts, you look at numbers, you look at statistics, and you actually then have to make sure your abilities and capabilities are in line with what you are supposed to be doing, or are in line with the job description. Sometimes people are put into a job, and sorry to say, just because of the color of their skin, because they just want to put somebody in there that looks a bit more brown than everybody else in the workplace. But maybe the abilities and capabilities are not there. So when you start to do the job, you realize that, oh my gosh, I'm in deep. This is not. So they then start to give off that kind of feel like you're not good and all these things. And sometimes it's not even because of anything to do with your race in that particular moment. It's just about the abilities and capabilities. So then you change your complaint, you change your narrative to say, well, you're giving me this type of job that you very well know that I'm not able to do. You very well know that I'm not capable of doing. Then could it be that I was given this job only because I'm Black? So these are the dimensions that we actually have to look at.
Sorry, yeah. That is just amazing. You've mentioned that, because sometimes it is a tick box exercise, and this is why we need to raise awareness amongst us as Black people, and as Black feminism. We're also trying to raise that in our own arena. Whilst we're trying to fight for Black feminism, we're also trying to raise awareness for Black people, right? So now I want to be able for us to come to a point of that, the shift, which is now the positivity. So I'm going to, and we had very open conversations of some of the social challenges that we're facing, especially for people in the diaspora, even people in their home countries. As Black women, we are kind of like at the bottom. And when you're trying to aspire to climb up the ladder or to be successful, it's always a challenge. But we have an exemplar here of a person that's been there, done that. I mean, if you caught the show when we first started, she's a lawyer. And then on top of that, immigration law, to be specific. So if you have any immigration issues, I actually have a question to ask you, Anya, on immigration issues, because there is something happening about the carer's visa at the moment. Just before we go into the shift, can you please share, because I know there are a lot of people that might want to understand that.
Okay, so just in a nutshell, the government has allowed people that have care businesses to actually apply for to apply to become a registered sponsor, which just means that the Home Office will approve the care business to be able to invite workers from anywhere in the world to come and work in their business, and that person will be invited by that particular business. So the first thing is the care business has to register themselves with the Home Office. They make an application, which has been made fairly simple when we look at the nature of Home Office applications. So this one is not that difficult, and it's also reasonably priced. Once you've made the application, explain why you would want to recruit not only in the UK but abroad, especially during these COVID times and care work, how the dynamics have really changed and carers are on demand. You would get a certain number of people that they will allow you to actually bring to the UK under your banner as a carer. They'll be working for your business. So you do your recruitment as usual, do your due diligence, make sure the person qualifies, and then you offer them a position to work, and the person can come from anywhere in the world and come and work for your care business.
Wow, amazing. I know I'll ask you to share your details at the end of this show so that people can get in touch, because I know there are quite a lot of people that will benefit from this, and we know we have quite a lot of skilled people that are still back home or that are anywhere in the world that might want to travel to the UK to come and find work in the UK. This will be really, 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 really useful for them. So thank you so much for that. What is it you want to tell the world today? What does Anya want to tell the world today?
Okay, so just a couple of things that I want to say. For starters, I just want to tell everybody out in the world that we need to step out of stereotypes. You know, we are in a world where life is fast moving. There's so much culture. There's so much to do. You know, we are just in a vibrant stage of life at the moment. Stereotypes, we just have to step out of them, leave them out, enjoy people, embrace people, learn from each other, and you will learn more and become a bit more because of those experiences that we get when we step out of it. Make a conscious decision to be unbiased. Bias stops us from doing a lot of things. It stops us from forming relationships, friendships, contacts because of bias. So just make that conscious decision of saying, you know what, I am not going to be biased in my life. And I also want to say to somebody, you are powerful. You have power in you. You don't even know. You will be thinking that you're doing something for yourself, but you might end up changing the world. Who knew that people like Martin Luther, who knew that a certain lady that just sat in the bus one day and said, I'm not going to stand up for anyone else to sit. I equally need to sit on this bus, became a worldwide phenomenon, you know. So I want to say to people, you are powerful. Don't anyone dim your light. Don't let anyone put you down. If you think that somebody has power over you, think about a mosquito, how small it is, but it can cause malaria. It can cause an outbreak. So you are very powerful as a person. And I also want to say to those people that may be in despair at the moment, so much has happened during COVID and people are just feeling, you know, down, depressed. People are feeling some type of way and they are on their own. I want to say to those people as well that we are remembering you in our prayers. You know, there is light at the other end of the tunnel. Hang in there, keep on pushing. You have to come out of this victorious, you know. And lastly, I want to say to people, own your identity. Know who you are, what makes you happy, what doesn't make you happy, where you want to go in life. Have that conversation with yourself, because everything starts from your identity. If your identity is all over and it's mixed up, the world will give you their own identity. They will give you what they think you should be, you know. So own it. Know exactly who you are, what you're about, your character traits, your strengths, your weaknesses, what you want out of life. And you will be happy, not just for yourself, but for others around you.
Wow, that is so amazing. I've heard that motivational side coming out. You know, you've branched it out in a nutshell. And I know specifically for you at the moment, you're working with quite a lot of young people. Is there any specific message you would like the young girls? Is there a specific message you might want to focus on the young people, on the young women?
Definitely, definitely. I want to say to all the young people out there that, you know, it's never, we always used to think that there's a certain age to do certain things and all these things, especially the teenagers. Don't think about your age too much. If you want to go into business and you're a teenager, go into it. It's even the right time because you have so much time to grow in it. If it's arts that you want to do, if it's a talent you want to explore, go for it because you still have the maximum energy. You know, when you get to a certain age, you won't even feel motivated to do anything anyway. So you still have the energy, you still have the passion. Go for it. Don't think of your age as a stumbling block. And I also want to say to teenagers out there, stay safe. There are so many things that are going around on social media out there and stuff. Just try to stay safe and focus on where you want to be and what you want to do. Otherwise, like I always say in my videos, you've got this.
You got this. You got this.
You've got this.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
One more time for the victim mentality, and I know this touches everybody, and I know I've played the victim card myself. we are all very. I feel like I need you to, if you can please explain how to conquer this victim mentality one more time, because I feel we are losing quite a lot of talent in the world today, despite of race, despite of gender, despite of whatever in general. I think we often play victims to our trauma. We often play victim to our circumstances. We often play victim in a lot of cases, but we don't realize that we're playing the victim. How do we conquer the victim mentality?
Okay, so firstly, you know, we need to understand that victim mentality will never be a positive in somebody's life. It will always be a negative because psychologically, it's going to make you seem weak. It's going to make you appear weak anyway. So, and it's going to turn into a fight. Remember, you're not fighting with anyone. You're running your own race. You are asserting yourself. You are making sure you're the best version of yourself. And you're making sure that where you need to be heard, you are heard. But when you become a victim and you play this victim mentality, there is already a fight there. And you know, victims always appear weak, and psychologically it's going to do something in your head. You're always going to think that, is it because of me? Is it because of this? That's why this is happening. But when you come out of it and actually realize that there is a bigger picture here, you have to stamp your authority. You have to assert yourself. You have to realize that, you know what, I only have one life and I have to live it to the best of my ability as a person myself. Then you rise above becoming a victim because society prefers you to become a victim than to actually be an asserter. It's easier for society if you're a victim. For example, if you're a victim, a financial victim, it's easier for society to just give you a certain amount of money every month and put you away somewhere and leave you to it. But when you say, you know what, I'm not going to be a victim, a financial victim. I'm going to start my own thing. I'm going to look for a good job. I'm going to be powerful in my job, in my work. You are rising above that mentality and you're going to do things that you want to do. You're not going to be put somewhere. There's not going to be any connotations that come with your money, of course, apart from your tax. But you are going to be more productive for yourself and those around you. So rise above the victim mentality. It's easier because it gives you an excuse, but this is not a time for excuses. It's a time of rising above those excuses. It's a time of psychologically taking back that power and using it to the best of your ability for yourself. Because once you are good for yourself, you're going to be good for others. The moment you're good for yourself, you become a light. And light works better when it's shone. So you're going to shine without even knowing. You're going to start influencing other people, helping other people, inspiring other people, empowering other people. But if you are a victim, you're just going to be put in a box somewhere and be left to just do life rather than to live life.
Wow. Amazing. I mean, there's nothing more I can say from there, apart from the fact that I believe everybody is born with a greatness in them. And you can only find your greatness if you want to find your greatness. Everybody has the capability of going above and beyond, like what Anya said. Anya, you have been amazing.